and sunscreen cause cancer? That's probably the most important question to ask this summer, and the answer may surprise you. If you ask any dermatologist, esthetician, or skincare expert, I think they all would agree that sunscreen is the most important product in your skincare arsenal. That's because the sun is the #1 culprit in rapid skin aging, as well as being attributed to the rise of skin cancer. But is that true? If sunscreen actually prevented skin cancer, wouldn't we have a much lower amount of melanoma? But the opposite is true. Even within the population of those that use sunscreen on a daily basis, they never miss a day. Let's first understand sunscreens, and then we'll be able to distinguish whether they actually contribute to skin cancer or they prevent. And if you don't know me yet, my name is Nadia Ben-Shakroun. I am a certified skincare expert. I've been in the field of beauty, specializing in sensitive skin for 28 years now, nearly 28 years. So I'm here to be your guide to better and healthier skin, the functional beauty way. And you might wonder, I never heard of this term, functional beauty. Well, you haven't, because I made it up. I am a huge fan of functional medicine, kind of treating the root cause rather than just slapping those band-aids on whatever issue that we have. And that's been something that's done also in the beauty industry. I am really tired of seeing all these clients of mine and many consumers out there and followers complain about sensitivity, hyperpigmentation, just the rise of skin issues. Just like we have the rise of diseases, we have the rise of skin issues and sensitivity, and that is because we're overloaded with toxic chemicals, with exfoliants, and adopting this aggressive approach that pushes for retinoids and lots of active ingredients. So with functional beauty, we go back to basics and what's truly important to healthy skin. It's about maintaining that lipid barrier, preventing aging in the first place, and understanding what it is that causes us to age, and doing something about it, rather than laying out in the sun, eating terribly, and then just thinking that like a really powerful chemical peel or even injections are going to fix the problem for you. Injections do not fix anything, they make things worse. But I tend to digress. Let's get back to sunscreen. Sunscreens are broadly categorized into two major categories. One is chemical sunscreen, which is in most sunscreens out there, especially when you go to drugstores. And then the second is mineral sunscreen, or it can be referred to as physical sunscreen. Chemical sunscreens can have ingredients such as oxybenzone, avobenzone, and octocrylene. These filters, rather than deflect the sun rays, they actually absorb it into them. By contrast, physical or mineral sunscreens actually block the sun and scatter those UV rays. In the 1960s, sunscreens started containing para-amino benzoic acid, which is also referred to as PABA. This effectively blocked UVB rays rather than UVA rays. If you're wondering, UVB, so B stands for burning, the A stands for aging. So UVB rays are the ones that are responsible for giving you a tan, a sunburn, and also melanoma. It's not all bad. UVB is also what gives us our most essential immune boosting vitamin. You guessed it, vitamin D. So these types of sunscreens, while blocking our vitamin D synthesis and also preventing that burn, they allowed for UVA, which is the aging rays, the damaging rays to the skin and collagen. They allowed it to penetrate really deep. That was not really a concern at the time, only to find out that UVA actually can contribute as well to basal cell carcinoma. So it is thought in recent scientific studies that the selective blocking of UV rays, so blocking UVB alone rather than having a broad spectrum protection, actually contributed to the rise of melanoma in recent years. Additionally, the reduction in solar UVB exposure affected our health in general by reducing our absorption of the most essential vitamin, which is vitamin D. So that contributed not to skin cancers, rather to other internal cancers. Another factor that was ignored for so many years until very recently with the rise of functional beauty and clean beauty is the type of filter in itself. As I mentioned earlier, we have chemical filters as well as physical filters. Chemical ones are made of just that, chemicals, which not all chemicals are bad, but in this case, they are. I cannot deny the appeal of chemical sunscreens because a lot of them can be beautiful. That's how you get a great texture. You get a spray sunscreen, so you can manipulate the formula to make it smell amazing, to make it really light, to make it absorb really quickly, not be pasty, but that all comes at a cost. Those chemical filters, first of all, can be very unstable, hence requiring additional preservatives, which are not healthy for us, stabilizers, emulsifiers, so all things that absorb into our bodies along with those sunscreens, causing other issues. One ingredient that truly stands out when it comes to chemical sunscreens is benzene. Benzene can be found in so many consumer goods, fragrances, and a lot of other things, but mainly many sunscreens, and that is a flat out carcinogen. In fact, there was a report published by this lab, Valisher, that I wrote about it a while ago. You can probably dig in the beautydoctrine.com to find that blog that really links up all the information. It lists all the sunscreen brands that were tested. But anyways, they tested a bunch of different brands and found that the majority of them contained benzene. I'm surprised to know that benzene is found in gasoline, crude oil, cigarette smoke, and our consumer products that we're slathering all of our faces in fear of developing cancers. We're actually introducing a very powerful carcinogen to our bodies. Benzene can significantly affect our health, contributing to certain blood cancers, including can be linked to irregular heartbeat, headaches, dizziness, and a lot of other issues. And the worst part is, benzene is not an ingredient that's typically listed on the INCI list, and that is the ingredient list that we all are learning now to scan. It's something that is found within certain formulations rather than an ingredient that is added. So that makes our jobs much more difficult in trying to scrutinize the different products that we're using and identify which ones have benzene. So really good rule of thumb is to avoid chemical sunscreens in the first place. They are inefficient, they degrade very quickly. I know, again, the appeal is there when it comes to beautiful textures, but the alternative is physical sunscreens, which are typically made of zinc or titanium, and I'll get to that. I'll get in depth about which one of those filters is better and how to pick a good sunscreen. But the reason most consumers avoided physical or mineral sunscreens in the first place was the fact that it is pasty and white, and it gives you that white cast. And yes, zinc by nature is a white substance. However, so much progress has been made in recent years, in the formulations of mineral sunscreens. I wear one every single day. I adore my sunscreens, and I tend to go for ones that are tinted, just to make sure there is not even a possibility of having a white cast. If I get tan, I always use one that's tinted, and that prevents me from having to apply foundation powder, all these things. So the one sunscreen can give me moisture protection and that really nice glow with the tint. Why not? Valisher's study of nearly 300 sunscreens found that 27% of them included or contained an unsafe amount of benzene. And a few brands you'd recognize: Neutrogena, La Roche-Posay, CVS brand, as well as Banana Boat. Now, let's talk about how to select a great sunscreen that potentially does not have benzene and all the other issues that we talked about. So remember when I said that mineral sunscreens actually sit on the surface of the skin, blocking the sun and scattering those UV rays? That is in itself one of the biggest benefits of mineral sunscreen. You want it to sit at the surface of the skin and do its job in protecting you rather than absorbing into your bloodstream and creating issues. The first benefit. The second benefit is that zinc is actually one of my absolute favorite ingredients. Years ago, I started using it for my sensitivity. I used to use it for acne. I used it for perioral dermatitis. And I just thought about that when I was applying a diaper rash cream on my baby at the time, who's now 21 years old. But at the time, I was always wondering, why does this zinc-based cream heal a rash super quick? And so that's when I started digging into zinc, and I discovered that it's one of the best ingredients that can be applied to the skin. So it's not about just protecting from the sun, it is a protective element from so many other things, and it's very healing and calming for the skin. So I've discovered zinc and have been using it for a very long time before it became such a celebrity in the sunscreen realm. Beyond all that, zinc is the only mineral filter that provides you that very needed UVA and UVB protection. And so don't be looking for mineral sunscreens just because they say so on the bottle. You want to specifically look for a mineral sunscreen that is based on zinc oxide. If you see some titanium dioxide in there, that's probably okay, but zinc is really what's going to provide you that well-rounded, safer protection. Additionally, mineral sunscreens are generally more environmentally friendly, reef safe, and much easier biodegradable. I am not a fan of titanium dioxide as a filter for multiple reasons. The first one is the fact that it is limited on its protective capability, as it protects only from UVB, and we've already established that we want that broad spectrum from UVA and UVB. Secondly, it's been shown to potentially cause harm to our lungs when inhaled. And so in general, I don't like anything that we spray on the face, like hairsprays, facial sunscreen, all those things, because they tend to be, absorbed, inhaled into the lungs and deposited there, and that's not helpful in any way. So for those reasons, I tend to avoid titanium dioxide. But again, if you have a great formula that maybe has a little bit and it's not a spray formula, that couldn't hurt. But I would definitely look for zinc dioxide primarily. To make it even sweeter, look for one that's tinted. So an added mineral, which is iron oxide, is responsible for the tint, and that can help protect you from screens, from blue light. So we're in front of our phones, we're in front of our different screens every day. So that's an additional layer of protection. One last point left to address is vitamin D. So we've been conditioned, I guess, to fear the sun. So the sun is not our enemy. Our enemy is our practices and all the products that we apply on our bodies in fear of the sun. So I'll break that down. So we absolutely need our vitamin D for our health, for our immunity, to prevent certain cancers and so on and so forth. But we also want great skin that's wrinkle-free, that's not sunburned, that doesn't have hyperpigmentation, that does not have discoloration and hyperpigmentation. How do we get there? Well, we protect those areas where we see aging the most, which are the face and neck. And this is how I do this. I apply a really good amount of sunscreen, tinted sunscreen to my face. I apply non-tinted to the neck and décolletage. And then I leave the arms. Maybe if I'm wearing shorts, I let the sun absorb into other parts of the body. And I know what my burn-in point is. And what that means, I know if I sit in direct sunlight and protected for 20 minutes, I start getting red. So at the 20-minute mark, I'll either take a break from the sun or apply my sunscreen at that point. But there's always a period of time where I let that direct sunlight absorb into the body in the larger areas rather than the face and neck. And that's how it's a win-win. You're protecting the face from those wrinkles and, you know, signs of aging, but you're also getting that vitamin D synthesis. Just keep in mind that vitamin D synthesis takes time. So if you're in direct sunlight, you don't want to come back home and shower immediately. You're washing it off. So you have to allow a few hours for it to actually convert and absorb into the body. A few other very helpful points that can protect you this summer is building up your internal sunscreen. You can build up to 40% of your protection from the food you eat. Yes. And so anything that's really rich in lycopene and carotenoids can actually help provide you that natural sun protection. So load up on your tomatoes, especially when they are in a sauce form. They tend to be really high in lycopene. Antioxidants in general can also be very helpful in providing you that additional protection. And lastly, hydrated skin can protect itself far better from the sun than dry skin. So slather on those really nice, clean body lotions and body oils. And the one thing that I would ensure to avoid before sun exposure is any ingredients that contain citrus, which you would be surprised, as I've vetted hundreds and hundreds of ingredients. Most natural products tend to have citrus in them, and citrus is a big trigger for hyperpigmentation. So read those ingredient lists, avoid citrus essential oils such as bergamot, neroli, lemon, lime, orange peel, so grapefruit, anything that sounds citrusy, you don't want to be applying it and going out in the sun. And believe it or not, even consuming citrus in direct sunlight. So if you're sitting by the pool, you really don't want to be drinking that orange juice or lemonade. You want to have those indoors, because there are those interactions that can happen between your body and the sun. So stay safe this summer. Share this video with somebody that you care about. And until next time, be well, be safe, be beautiful. Take care.